King was a civil rights activist and only had to be accountable to his community. Barack Obama is an elected official and has to be accountable to his entire country. Like it or not, that is Barack Obama's job, and it is perfectly reasonable to expect anyone else applying for that job if he is willing to work in the establishment to get the best possible good for their citizens, as Barack Obama is. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Emma Clark from Closh Dunisky, and today I'm here to oppose the motion and represent Tipperary. Today I'll be explaining why anti-establishment politicians don't benefit society and deserve to be demonised. Roisin, you say we've mixed up demonisation and criticism, but the media is simply showing these politicians for what they are. Why should the media compromise their integrity by pretending that these politicians are something they're not? It is essential to the functioning of electoral democracy that representatives be capable of compromise and that they be willing to put the good of the people, above their personal principles and work with their opponents to bring about the best possible good for their constituents and the people of their country. Anti-establishment candidates will not settle for the best possible good if they don't think it's as good as the best imaginable good, because if they work with establishment, then they risk losing the anti-establishment votes that elect them, which invariably leaves people worse off. This is particularly true when candidates are not willing to set their sights lower to get elected in the first place. In the last British general election, Labour lost its voters to two main parties: Scottish voters to the Scottish National Party and working class voters to UKIP. Jeremy Corbyn isn't going to win those voters back because he won't compromise his values. This stance means that he is also now going to lose more winnable brown voters to the Tories. This effectively means that constituencies that elected a Labour MP in the last general election, or who elected a Labour MP in the next one, are stuck with 10 years without meaningful representation in Westminster, all because Jeremy Corbyn is not willing to compromise his values, even slightly, to give his party a chance of getting back into power. Jeremy Corbyn and others like him absolutely deserve to be demonised for throwing their constituents to the wolves by refusing to participate in the parliamentary system.
Madam? Yeah. So you incentivise the abandonment of the centre ground and you turn that discourse into one of hate, one of fear, and one of caricature, essentially.
See, all the media is doing is showing these people for what they are. Why should they risk their integrity by pretending that these people are something that they're not? There is reasonable critique to be made of how parliamentary democracy and its emphasis on compromise effectively prevents any big radical change from happening. But the truth is, ladies and gentlemen, that big radical change is not and never has been the job of elected officials. It is, and always has been, the job of the common people. The Civil Rights Act was passed for two main reasons. One, because Martin Luther King was able to mobilise enough people to demand its passage that elected officials risked losing seats if they did not comply with the people's demands. And two, because Lyndon B. Johnson, one of the greatest legislative geniuses of the 20th century, was able to work with both his rivals in the Republican Party and dissenters between his own Democratic Party, trading favours for favours and convincing them it was in their best interest to support him. The Civil Rights Act and its passage is symbolic of how progress only happens when the radicals are able to exert influence over effective actors within the establishment. Bernie Sanders, for all his progressive idealism and all his anti-establishment rhetoric, would not have been able to get the Civil Rights Act passed because he could not have effectively negotiated with his allies in the Democratic Party, let alone his sworn enemies in the Republican Party. Bernie Sanders has not been able to explain how he would actually deliver on any of his promises if he was elected President of the United States, because he has no proper plan. Because for all his criticisms of Hillary Clinton as a candidate of the establishment, Hillary is a talented and effective legislator who fought tooth and nail to get into the establishment so she could use the tools of parliamentary democracy to bring about positive change for her country, like when she fought as First Lady to pass the Children's Health Insurance Plan. Bernie Sanders has never voted in favour of any trade agreement during his 25 years as a member of the US Congress. He has never been willing to compromise with his opponents and use his vote to buy amendments to imperfect legislation in order to bring about the best possible good. Even when the opportunity is presented to make things better, if they can be perfect, Bernie Sanders has always voted in protest, rather than use his vote to bring about any kind of positives for his constituents or for his country, and he absolutely deserves to be demonised for that. Look, there is a reason that a significant portion of people currently supporting Bernie in the Democratic primaries say they will vote for Donald Trump if Bernie loses and Hillary becomes Democratic nominee. It's because they feel let down by the establishment, and that's a legitimate thing to feel. But anti-establishment candidates don't actually change the establishment. Inevitably, they either give it more power, like Jeremy Corbyn, or they disrupt it completely, as with all the anti-establishment votes in the Irish general election, which, yes, has ended the rule of the two Irish establishment parishes, but has also ground it all to a halt, because people like Richard Boyd Barrett don't care about working with their opponents to achieve the best possible good. They just want to stand on their moral high ground and look down their nose at people who are actually willing to do the work to get the job done. The worst thing about candidates who run on anti-establishment platforms is that their greatest ambition is to be in eternal opposition. They have no plans to ever be in power, and frankly, they wouldn't know what to do with power if they had any. They don't care about their constituents, they don't care about their country, and they don't care about actually fighting for a better world. They deserve every ounce of violence that comes their way. Ladies and gentlemen, they deserve to be demonised. Thank you.